Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Oh my gosh, I am so excited for this week's video because I get to show you guys how to make an aesthetic wallpaper collage for your iPad. But before we get started with the video, make sure you are subscribed down below, turn on bell notifications so that you get notified every time I upload, and give this video a thumbs up at the end if you enjoyed it. Back in July of last year, so July 2020, I made a how to make an aesthetic wallpaper collage for your phone and laptop. And that video did so well. I got such a good response from that video. It has like 27,000 views, which is insane. So, seeing as I got the iPad Air 4th generation for my 17th birthday last week, I thought I would make a video on how to make an aesthetic collage wallpaper for your iPad. This is the case that I have. It's beautiful. I talked about it in my last video if you want to go check that out. In this video, I'm going to show you guys the two ways that I like to make a photo collage style wallpaper for my iPad. So I'll have the timestamps for each different collage on the screen or in the description below if you just want to skip to that part. Alright, so let's start with the first version. So the apps that you will be needing for both of these collages are Pinterest and Canva. So I like to get all of my aesthetic photos off of Pinterest. If you want to follow me on Pinterest, my username is Rebecca_Grace04. But before I go into Pinterest, I'm actually going to go onto Safari and search up what the display size of the iPad Air 4th generation is. And the reason why I want to search up the dimensions is so I can type those dimensions into Canva to make the correct size wallpaper. So let's go ahead and search that up. Okay, so right here, as you can see, this 4th gen, it says 2360 by 1640. So what I'm going to do is take those two numbers, go into Canva. I love using Canva for literally everything. I use it to make my thumbnails, I use it to make my YouTube banner. It's a great app. So I'm going to go ahead and press the create a design tab at the top and press the little plus button that says custom size, and I'm going to type in the width and the height, and this is in pixels, so you're going to want to make sure that it says pixels or whatever dimension that you're using. 2360 as the width and then 1640 as the height. So if you have the same iPad that I do, those are the dimensions. And then you're gonna press create new design. Okay, so now's the part where you're gonna wanna go into Pinterest. So this is what my Pinterest looks like right now. I have so many boards because I am literally obsessed with Pinterest. So for my photos, I usually like to choose 8 so that way I can have 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom. I find that an even number of photos works better just for the layout, but you can choose however many you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and first go into my board called Inspiration, and I'm going to choose, I'd say 3 photos that have quotes on them because I feel like that's a good balance between quotes and normal photos. But before I choose the photos that I want to include, I want to remember that I want to have some kind of color scheme to all my photos. So as I'm looking through these quote photos right here, I really like the idea of like a blue, brown, and green color scheme. So that's kind of what I'm going to go for with my quote photos and my normal photos. So after scrolling through Pinterest for a little bit, I found these 3 quote photos that I really liked and that I want to include. So as you can see, those 3 photos are blue, brown, and green because that is the color palette that I'm going for. So now that I've chosen my 3 quote photos, I'm gonna go ahead and go in my board called Aesthetic and choose 5 photos that inspire me, are really aesthetic, will go with my color palette, and just in general that I want to include in my wallpaper. Okay, so after scrolling through Pinterest for a little bit, I found the 5 photos that I want to include. So I'm going to go back into Canva, and over here on the left side of the screen, you can see this button called Uploads. So what you're going to want to do is press the Upload Media button, and then I downloaded them to my photo library, so I'm going to click that. And then I actually made a separate album called Wallpaper Photos that I added all the photos to just so I could find them easier. So I'm going to import all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and add. Okay, so before importing all the photos onto your canvas, you're going to want to go to the tab called Elements. And this is what I like to do. So basically, I like to scroll down and go to this Grids tab. And this gives me a whole bunch of grid options with as many photos up to like 10, I think they have. So I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down to where it has the 8 photos option. And I do like to use a grid just to make it look more organized, but you can totally arrange them however you like. There can be some photos that are bigger, some photos that are smaller. You don't have to use a grid, but using a grid is just a super easy way to do it, and it looks really clean. Okay, so I'm gonna use the grid right here on the left column side. side where it has 4 photos on the top and 4 photos on the bottom. You're just going to want to tap that and it'll put it onto your canvas. So now what you're going to want to do is go to the Uploads tab and tap all of your photos to import them. So I'm going to start with my inspirational quote photos. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to place them just randomly basically. So let's put this one up there, this one down here, and let's put this one over here. So as you can see, all I had to do was literally tap on the photo and drag it, and it kind of just like inputs itself into the grid by itself, which is really easy. Okay, now I'm going to import my other photos. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and once again, just put these in randomly. So my photos actually went into the grid really nicely, but if you wanted to, you could totally adjust them. And to do that, all you have to do is just double tap on the photo that you want to adjust, and you can move it around just to maybe center it a bit more or make it smaller, bigger, anything you want. So this is what my wallpaper looks like. Now what you're going to want to do is in the top right corner, you're going to want to press the download button, and this will save as an image and download to your photos. So now all I have to do is go into my Photos app, select the photo, and set this as my wallpaper. And as you can see, when I kind of pinch it out like that, it automatically fits right onto the screen because we used the exact dimensions, which is super helpful. And then set, and I'm just gonna set this as my home screen. And there we go. That is what this first aesthetic collage background looks like. Okay, so that was the first way that I like to make my aesthetic collage wallpapers. Now, the second way that I'm gonna show you is a more minimalistic way where the photos are smaller and in separate frames. So to do this version, you will still be needing Pinterest and Canva. The first thing that you're going to want to do is, once again, just go into Pinterest and find the amount of photos that you want to include in your wallpaper. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to find new photos. I'm just going to use the same photos that I used for the previous wallpaper version. But if you did skip to this timestamp and you didn't watch the first one, that's okay. All you have to do is go into Pinterest. And what I like to do actually for this wallpaper version is only select 6 photos, because once again, I want it to be more minimalistic. So for this version, personally, I like to use 2 quote photos and 4 normal photos. So all I would do is go into my inspiration board on Pinterest and find 2 quote photos that I want to use, and then I would go into my aesthetic board and find 4 photos that I want to use. Alright, so once you have your photos, if you haven't already, you're going to want to search up the dimensions of your certain device screen. So for me personally, I have the iPad Air 4th generation, so my screen dimensions are 2360 by 1640. So what you're going to want to do is go into Canva. So once you're in Canva, you're going to want to press the button in the top right corner that says Create a Design, press the plus button at the bottom that says Custom Size, and type in your dimensions. So once again, mine was 2360 by 1640. And when you search up the dimensions, they're probably going to be in pixels, so I'm going to keep it as that, and then create new design. So as you can see, this creates a blank canvas. So now what you're going to want to do is go to the tab on the left side where it has the uploads button, and what you're going to want to do is upload all of your photos. So as you can see, my photos are already there, but all you would do is press the upload media button, and then my photos saved to my photo library. So I would click on that, tap all the photos, and they would import into the uploads tab. So once you have your photos imported, you're going to want to actually tap on the canvas. And what I like to do is, as you can see right now, the canvas is white, but since we are actually going to see the background in this wallpaper, I'm going to change the color of the background. So there are a few different ways that you can select the color of your background. As you can see, they have the default colors, but one thing that I like to do actually is go onto Pinterest, and I have a board called Art, and in this board I have a section called Color Palettes. So in this board, I have a lot of photos that show the number of the color. So for example, if I wanted my background to be pink, I can go on this photo, and I'm actually going to choose this pink color right here in the top left. And the number for this is F6CDC7. So all I have to do is go onto Canva, press the plus button, and type in that number, and it'll give me that exact color. F6CDC7. And there we go. It gives me that exact pink color that I saw on Pinterest. Alright, so once you've selected the color of your background that you want, you can go ahead and tap on your photos and they will import onto your canvas. So I'm going to choose this blue one right here and the green one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make these photos a little bit smaller just for now so that I can import my other photos. So I have those 2 quote photos, and then I'm going to choose this one, and this one, and this one to import. And I'm gonna go ahead and make these smaller. So with this wallpaper version, you have a little more freedom here because you can basically arrange these photos however you want. You can make the photos different sizes, you can make them the same sizes, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the way that I would do it. So what I would do is actually make all of these photos into a square form so that they are all the same size. go. So now all of my photos are the exact same size. So now what I'm gonna do is go to the Elements tab on the left side, and in the search box, I'm gonna type in square. So as you can see, when I type in square, there are some frames that show up. So what I'm gonna do is select this one in the top middle right here, and this basically imports a frame into my canvas. So right now it's purple. I'm gonna change it to white because that's the color that I want the border of my photos to be. And now all I wanna do is just go ahead and fit this to the size of the photos. So once you have the one frame selected to one of the photos, all you have to do is just tap on that frame and duplicate it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this makes a whole bunch of new frames that you can add to each one of these photos. Okay, so now I have a frame on each one of my photos. I feel like this just makes the photos look a bit better. It frames them nicely, obviously, because it's a frame. So now's the part when you can arrange the photos to your liking. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and here's a time lapse of it. And there we go. So as you can see during that time lapse, I did have to adjust the photos a little bit, but that's okay. That's the fun part about it, is that you can really make it look however you want it to. So now that I've finished adjusting the photos to my liking, I'm gonna go ahead and save this as an image. So after you've saved it, you can go ahead and go to your camera roll, select the photo, and set this as your wallpaper. So as you can see, when I pinch out like that, it automatically adapts right to the exact screen size because we typed in those exact dimensions. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this as my home screen. Alright, so now as you can see, this looks so good. This is very similar to the previous wallpaper version, although it is a little more minimalistic and simple, but I personally like using both versions. I switch it up all the time. So that is how I like to make my aesthetic collage wallpapers for my iPad. If you liked either of the wallpapers that I created today, they will be up on my Pinterest in my board called Wallpapers. Or if you made your own wallpaper using this video, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Once again, you can follow me on Pinterest. My username is Rebecca_Grace04. I upload every single Thursday at 11 AM Eastern time, so I will see you guys back here next week for a brand new video. Bye!